And welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook, and this is episode 554. As I say, I'm Adam Cook, and with me is Chris Hyde.
Thank you for waiting till I'd finished coughing there.
I wasn't actually looking.
Oh God, don't start joking now.
No, I wasn't looking, so you got away with that. Because if I'd seen it, I wouldn't have waited, as you know.
Okay. Okay, right.
And Chris
Thanks,
White.
Matt.
Hello, Chris White. Third hat trick of pods on the trot.
Oh,
Yes.
smashing it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But it's come at a cost. A deep, dark cost.
Not really, it's a perk of the job, really. When
Depends who
think
you
about
ask, really, doesn't it?
it. Yeah.
It pendles who you ask, really, because Lyle's not here this week. He's unfortunately a little bit poorly and still a little bit too poorly to be on the pod. So you're stuck with the non-Lyles here. And
I find it,
I thought you were going to say something else, though.
Yeah, I find it just really funny when adults use the word poorly when they're not talking.
Really,
to
what should I
children.
said?
Ill.
But this is okay.
Poorly, just like it is the children's
It's kind,
equivalent, is
though,
it not?
isn't it? It's a kind word.
It's more gentle.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just do another take. Hang on. Pendle's who you ask, really, because unfortunately Lyle's got the chronic shits.
You did. I thought you said dependles who you ask.
Oh, well, I could have. I'll do another take. Hang on. Dependle's who you ask, because Lyle's got incredibly bad diarrhea right now. I don't think he has, actually. I think he's just got...
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't got the plots, no.
The plops.
He's not like a diuretic camel.
No, that is such a great saying. The games we're going to talk about this week are mostly ones he's reviewed, unfortunately, but I've played two of them, and Chris White is here to talk Frostpunk 2 as well, and he's played that, and I think he's the only one who's played that. Let's start off with a game that it's only 1 year that was on our most anticipated, right? The Plucky Squire?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's been...
Yeah, I think
Feels like, I think because the anticipation was quite high, it feels longer.
Yeah, and I think we've known about it. We knew about it for quite a lot of last year as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other thing. So yeah, it is one we've been anticipating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were
we right to, Adam?
Yeah, it's pretty. I'm not quite as hot on it as Lyle is. He gave it 9 out of 10 in his review, and you can read that on godasageek.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can find a video version of that exact review. I'm not like, oh, I'd give it 4. Not at all. Like it's a good game. It's a really good game. I think, unfortunately, it suffers slightly coming right after Astrobot, because while it's not a platformer, it's kind of adjacent in terms of... I mean, it has platforming in it, like, you know, when you go into the 3D stuff, and it's that colourful aesthetic, the vibrant world, and the sort of niceness, you know, that warm feeling that Astrobot. I mean, Chris, I know you've platinumed it as well, haven't you? Like, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
It's a bit like after like God of War Ragnarok came out, and you played another 3D third-person action game. Like it was hard to. You're not comparing it directly. The Plucky Squire is a wonderful, beautiful-looking game with some great voice acting. I love the storybook aesthetic. I do think it's got an incredibly slow start. Like, I think you want to get to, like, chapter 4 or 5 before... Like, I was talking to a friend who started playing it, and he just wasn't feeling it. I was like, no, just keep going. I know it's a lot to ask these days in a world of sort of instant gratification, but with Plucky, you kind of need to get to chapter 4 because there's a lot of it... Like... For example, when you find... It's no spoiler, because it's been well publicised. When you come out of the book and into the 3D part of the game, the first time you do that, you're stripped of, like, your sword. And it's stealth against bugs. And the first time I played that was when we previewed it. And I was a bit... This isn't what I expected, if that makes sense. Eventually, of course, you do get in the 3D world with your sword, and there's combat, you know, and it just takes a while to get there. It's just a nice game. Like I didn't find it particularly difficult in terms of challenge. Not that it needs to be.
I didn't expect this type of game to be difficult. To be honest with you, it would have been a bit jarring if it was. To be honest, but
that's fair. Like I don't. It's weird. I can't sit here and pick holes in it. There's nothing inherently wrong with it other than it's got a slow start and it's a bit on the easy side. It's just it kind of is what it is. It's like, you know, you're playing through a storybook adventure. That is what this is. It's in a literal sense. You are playing through a storybook adventure, and the characters are great. They change things up quite a lot. So, you know, you're playing essentially like almost a modern version of an old school top-down Zelda. And then you'll turn a page and it's a side-scrolling platformer or a vertical platformer. And then and I'm not going to talk any further than this in terms of mechanical stuff because they've shown this one a lot, but there's like do you know the game Punch-Out, which I
Yeah.
So there's a scene in it, I think it's in the first or second chapter, where the game Jot takes his shirt off and he's like ripped, which is great and funny, like because he's just this cutesy character in a cartoon comic book thing. And you do a Punch-Out, it's Punch-Out, but against a honey badger.
Obviously.
And so you're duking in that, if you can, without me spoiling, it does that again, not that specific gameplay mechanic, but like another boss fight will take that a new idea and you'll play it. And some are better than others.
So that was what I was going to ask. Is there quite a lot of this transitioning into like different styles or?
It's kind of a lot, if that makes sense. Like you're doing this top-down sort of dungeoneering, and you can jump in and out of the book, and they give you new skills as you play through. So first of all, you can just turn the pages of a book, and that's useful because it plays into, for example, there are word puzzles. On the pages of the book, it will say...
Sold.
No, well, it will say, like, the gate was firmly shut, or no, it would be like the gate was shut. Let's just simplify it so it doesn't confuse people. The gate was shut. You can hit the word shut, pick it up, put it over there, flip the page back to where some other bit of text said something was open. Pick the open up, jump out the book, turn the page, jump back in the book, put open down, bosh, puzzle solved.
Okay, yeah.
So you need to be able to turn the pages. Then, like, you get into the realms of, and really vague minor spoilers, like you gain another power where you can tilt the book. So rather than turn the page, you can lift it, and that helps you, say, make a minecart move because you're moving the book. Then, like I say, the word puzzles get more complicated. You can upgrade stuff. You can upgrade your power. You can throw your sword, and you can get like an air attack. And there's collectibles. It's very much a modern video game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I enjoyed it. Like it felt really good. I especially enjoyed playing it on Steam Deck. Like it felt really like at home. I like that sort of game on Steam Deck. I find like it really comfy. But I have nothing bad to say about it, other than like I say, I really do think it takes a while to get going. Like I know do you remember the trailer they showed off with like the where you go into like a shooter, like a shoot 'em up, side scrolling. You're spinning around a bucket. Have you seen that? No, yeah. That's not in the first like early chapters of the game. That's the second half, the back half of the game. And I don't. Again, it's not, I don't want to say rudimentary because that seems like that.
It's different. I find this sometimes like I find sometimes you on this pod. Like I did think I did it with Visions of Mana a little bit. Like you end up sort of critiquing a game that's clearly like an 8 out of 10 in your eyes, like talking about all the reasons why it's not a 10 rather than
exactly it.
Like saying why it's an 8.
There's no massive flaws. There's no
exactly.
It just didn't kind of light a fire in me the way, say, Astrobot did.
Yeah,
for example. Yeah. Now, whether it would have if I'd played it first, I mean, I can't. That's just one of them things, isn't it? You can't rewrite history in that respect. It's a really good game. Yeah, like you said, I would, if I was reviewing it and I'm writing a review right now, I would give it an 8 out of 10, which is a really good game.
Yeah. And that's what 8 out of 10 means.
But on the other side of that, given the hype, the excitement that we all had for it,
and this is the other thing. Like I was going to say, just to re-mention Visions of Mana, because obviously that was really hyped in my head.
Yes.
And obviously this was hyped in our heads. Both of them, I think, were top 5 most anticipated for the site last year. Like, and I think so. You end up talking about, well, did it meet those versus the reality? So it's not that it's bad. It's just that maybe we thought it would be like we thought we'd feel like we did with like Sea of Stars and Astrobot at the end of playing that, and it's not quite that good, but it's still a really enjoyable adventure, and that shouldn't put anyone off, right?
No, definitely.
What's holding it back from being better in your eyes?
I just think it's a little slow for me.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, like I like So again, sorry, Chris, I know you haven't played it, but Chris Hyde, but you have played Astrobot, like Astro's Playroom, so you know what I'm referring to in terms of the movement speed. Astro games move at quite a clip. Like I explore the world.
I do prefer a game where the protagonist moves like quickly.
It
like
just feels like so. Here's the thing, and this is going to be such. People listening are going to be like, that is such a bad nitpick. I find there's a dodge roll button. Can you guess where I'm going with it yet?
The controls inverted?
No. So I hammer the dodge button constantly to try and move myself just that little bit quicker.
Oh, you're rolling. Oh, it's the whole Link rolling thing versus running. Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm not convinced it's actually any quicker to even
No,
do
I
it,
do that,
but
though.
You just feel like you want a little more pace on the movement.
Yeah, your like character is moving slowly if you're trying to find ways to make them move quicker. I do that in some games as well. Like, it's rolling quicker. Like, I know what you mean.
Bang on. And like when you combine that with it's not like super easy. Like it reminds me a little bit in some ways. This is a really weird comparison because they're not entirely at all the same game. But when I talked about Princess Peach Showdown, that people are like, "Oh, that game's for kids," and I remember having the chat with you, like your daughter is a massive, massive Peach fan. But she'd get real. Well, she might maybe she's probably nearly a year older now. But you know what I mean. She would be frustrated with elements of that game, and it's not so easy as to be. There's nothing rubbing
completely
against
passive, and it's, yeah.
But when you combine that with, it just feels like it just needs like a tweak, just a
few tweaks. Yeah, that's what the vibe I'm getting from what you're saying is like it's an almost game in the sense of being brilliant, like almost brilliant, like it's just missing a few.
But can I also just be really clear? Just my opinion. Like
I haven't played it. I could love it. And
what I'm saying is there is literally a review. If Lyle wasn't poorly this week, he scored it a 9, liked it. I know it's only 1 point difference, but a 9 is a big score.
No, 9 is a very strong recommendation.
So this just my feeling on it, and it might just be that I particularly I'm a bit older.
You've got
and
no
as I get
soul.
older, I find I like things just so a little bit. Yeah, all those things. But I just like, it's a really good game, but it was like behind the curtain slightly. You said last night, should I play more of video game we can't talk about this week? Yeah, Redacted, or should I play a bit of that for the pod? And I literally said to you, well, how long have you got? And you said I got about 90 minutes tonight. And I said, I don't know if that's enough to get you into it far to the point where the game starts moving.
Getting good.
And I feel like if I said to you, do that so we can chat on the pod, after those 90 minutes, you're going to come away with a bit of a negative feel because you're like, if the whole game's that way...
That's a big no for me. 90 minutes is far too long to have to wait for a game.
Because how long roughly is
10,
the
12,
game?
10 to 12. But what I would also say...
Not for a 12-hour game.
Yeah, but in its defence, this is not just any old 10 to 12-hour game. This is a game that is a 2D side-scroller and a 3D platformer and has puzzles in it. Like, you start coming out of the book and all of a sudden, the game suddenly becomes... It flowers. Like, it really does. And the story's really interesting and it's just a lovely adventure.
I definitely will be playing it.
I would still say
I'm one of those
should.
people. I'm one of those people. We obviously had this conversation last night, but I'm one of those people that likes to just tunnel vision. When I'm starting a game, I'm like, I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Which has been fucking hard this year because there's been some massive games to try and do that with. So I think this is the type of game where I'd be like, I want to give this my full attention, and then in that situation, like. Getting through to that bit it's an evening and it's fine. I'm not thinking, I want to do this, but then I want to move on to something else that evening. So it would bother me less. And I have always liked the look of it, so I definitely will give it a go.
I think you should both still play it, and I think
I will absolutely.
If people listening or watching have the opportunity via it's PlayStation Plus, isn't it? I want to say it's in PlayStation Plus or PlayStation
I think so. I think
it's in PS Plus. It's extra,
levels.
I think.
Does that mean it's whichever way? If you have the opportunity and the correct subscription to play it, I would say you should play it because it is a beautiful. Even just to see the visual, it's beautiful game.
Yeah,
lovely voice acting. It's just such a. It's just we're not going to talk about Frostpunk 2 yet, but it is like the opposite end of the gaming world. Like it is just this joyous, beautiful thing. Let's move on, though, speaking of joyous, beautiful things, to a game called UFO 50, which is like 2017, I think it was first announced. Do you guys know much about this game?
Yeah, I think so. If it's the game, who develops it? Do you remember?
Well, it's Mossmouth technically, but it's a sort of a collection curated by multiple developers, including the person behind Spelunky.
Is this the game that's got like not a story throughout, but there's something...
Yes.
Because there was that...
of.
I attended a showcase for... I can't remember who it was, but there was like loads of games. And they showed a game, which I'm sure is this,
Could be.
where there's all different kind of retro-y games, 50 of them.
It does sound like it. So I'm not going to try and name the console because I can't remember. But in the game world, there is a fictional publisher of a console that we don't know, if you know what I mean. And they published 50 games, and it's from like the 86, and like incrementally across the years. And there are 50 of them, all developed by different people, including, as I say, Derek Yu from Spelunky fame, which is one of, let's not kid up, like that's a big name. That's a big name. Spelunky is serious business. I am so impressed by it, because what initially I thought it was, there's so much more to it. So you think when someone says, this is a collection of 50 brand new games, I think your head goes to, well, it'll be like Mario Party mini games. Or WarioWare.
Yeah, my head, and I know it's not this, but my head went to the that Nintendo one, that compendium one. Is it 50 game? What's it called? You know what I mean? The ones with backgammon and stuff in it, but it's
no.
I know it's not board games, but it's that.
No, so these are all individual games, and the amazing thing about it is that, like, even again, just to reiterate, this isn't a real thing. This is all in-game, in-universe.
Yeah.
There's a game, and I'm going to talk about this one probably more than any of them because I fucking loved it, but called Mortal, and it actually got a sequel. Sorry, inverted commas, got a sequel in the fake world, which is also part of the 50 games, and there's a few of them like that in this collection. Oh man, it's crazy. Some of the ideas they've come up with are ridiculous. And I think it must have taken quite a bit of bravery at some point, because some of the ideas in here are so damn good that I wonder if there was a conversation at any point where someone went, we probably should just release this as a game, which they have in the fictional world. But it's... So Mortal, I'll talk about Mortal, which is one of the early-ish games. I think it's in the first 10. It's a platform game. All these games, by the way, have 8-bit sensibilities, 8-bit visuals, and sort of music. But what they've done with all of them is they've tried to limit themselves to what technology would have been available, but then sort of kind of broken their rules to make the games actually fun. Because there are some... You know how you remember a platformer in the 8-bit days, and then you play it, yeah. Even... God, say it quietly, even Super Mario Bros. Sometimes when you feel it, you're like, this don't remember this feeling so ice skatey. Do you know what I mean? So they've taken the look and feel, mostly the look and feel, and allowed themselves a little bit of leg room to sort of break a little bit of the rules. Mortal, for example, I don't think could have been achieved. I don't think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't think the memory on the Spectrum and what it would have allowed for this. But I'll try and explain this best as I can. And if you do want to see it, I will put some footage on the video of it so you can actually see it. You start off level 1-1, whatever, chapter 1, whatever you want to call it. You have 20 lives. And you're dropped in, parachuted in, and you're this little dude on an 8-bit side-scrolling game. First things first, I can't jump up there. Now, the game's told you one thing. There are 3 controls that are different. You press up and the action button. I can't remember which way around these are without playing. But one of them will turn you to stone. One of them will make you explode. And I think if you just press the action button, you just fly off like Superman, like psh, just hit whatever's next. They are your ways of progression. So, you can't reach the jump. So you turn yourself to stone, chalk 1 life off, next life comes down, you can use that platform that used you, a stone, to get over. You get to an explosive wall. You can't break through. You have to blow that wall up. Life gone, get through. All the while dodging enemies and stuff. You can make like a ladder with yourself. You Superman into a wall and you can then get a bit higher. And the aim of that level is to get to the end with the most amount of lives, because each level is kind of a puzzle. There will be like an extra life, little 3 lives down there, and you're like, Yeah, but I might lose 4 trying to get that because I'm shit. So I'm just going to go over the top and go the easy way, and then you die 6 times anyway. But that could be a game in itself. I don't know if I'm doing it justice, honestly, but it is so clever. Like, you play it and you're like, this has to be a homage. Someone must have. And I'm like, I've played a lot of games in my 40-plus years. Like, I've never played anything like this. This is such a clever idea. Basically using your corpses to progress the level.
Mm-hmm.
And you can replay the levels. If you do get to one, and basically, if you end on 6 lives, next level, you've got 6 lives, and you're like, oh. So you can. I got to like level 3, and I had like 12 left, and I'm like, yeah, but I have a bit of knowledge about level 2, so I'm going to go back, and I did manage to get to level 3 with like 19 lives, which is nearly your full 20. That's just one game. That's one game of 50, and there's a sequel to that game. There's this really cool like football game. It's not really football. Like, it's just this, again, 2D side scroller. You're jumping around and you've got a ball, and you get the ball, and the action button kicks the ball, and you have to kill the enemies. Next level. Then there's a boss fight at the end of the first world. And again, you're like, this could just be some indie game on Steam. It's really good. It would get traction. People would love it. It's just part of 50. There's full-on JRPG style games in here, like full games. There's even like a 2D Souls-like, which is dreadful, by the way, and I think that might be the point, though, because it's the first one you play. The first game, number 1, I don't suppose you don't have to unlock number 1 first, but I played it, and I'm like, I was really worried, because like, they're all like this is dreadful, because it's a Souls game of its time. Like, the controls are dreadful, you've got no attacks, it's just like, and you just die, and I'm like, something's going to happen. If somebody's gonna, and they're like, gotcha. So, no, that's just the game. So I'll move on. I'm sure it's really good for some people, but not for me. There are just so many unique, incredible video game ideas that I would be surprised, unless you're one of those people who's like, I just cannot stand that look, that sound, of which I would say, just give it a go anyway, because there's some of the ideas are like, you're missing out on some real, for people who complain about how games are like, oh look, another shooter, oh look, another grey corridor shooter, blah blah blah. This is the antithesis to that. This is like unique, brilliant, not always, and some of it's hard as balls. Like, there's I don't know the best way to describe it, but either of you know the game Attic Attack? Spectrum era, Commodore 64.
No.
Sort of isometric.
I mean, I had a
top-down.
Spectrum, but it was a long time ago, so I can't
That's
recall
totally
it.
fair. But there's a game, like a strategy game, where each time you get your little character, you get different kinds of bombs, right? And you have to. It's kind of Minesweeper, I suppose, Minesweeper-esque. But you can plant this different. Like, one bomb might do like a plus sign. So it's like it will blow up above, below, left, and right of your icon.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get one that's like an L shape. And you have to try and eliminate all the enemies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stay on screen. So you pick the plus and you're like, okay, I've got to remember that's there. And then, and again, that's like I think that's part of the kind of, let's keep it within the technology. Because yes, these days, it would just stay on the screen. So yeah, but that would be really easy then, wouldn't it? It would probably make them glow if you were going to blow them up. No, here you just have to, it's memory. And again, these ideas are so good. And there's other, I can't stand here and talk about 50 games.
What did you play? What's it?
It's only on PC. I believe it's coming to consoles next year, I think, but don't quote me. It's in my head. I may have completely made that up, so don't quote me. Steam, and again, Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Like, just it's great because you just go through them. Like, that first game, I'm like, nope. And it's like 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and I'm on to the next one. And then I found one, and I'm like, And I passed it to my son, my eldest, and he's like, playing this football one, and he got a high score. And then I was like, well, I'm not having that. And that's the other thing, by the way, I should mention. Oh, God, I didn't even mention that one. There's like this awesome multiplayer fighting game that's like also Pong. So imagine Pong. Or like what's it called? Like what's the game? Air hockey? Like puck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, imagine air hockey, right? But imagine if you picked a Street Fighter character at either end, who had their own abilities and specials,
mm-hmm.
And so the puck comes and you're like hitting it up and diagonally and all this, and they're hitting it back, but they've got a special that does this, and you can throw out a shuriken to numb them. And like you can play these. Some of these games are 2-player games. These aren't just all single-player experiences. A lot of these are like multiplayer games. Mortal, you can play multiplayer, and it again, not to harp on about that game, but that game really stuck with me. So Mortal 2-player mode is like you do one life, player 2, next life. So you're literally cooperating your way through. And a lot of games, like say, every time I think, okay, we'll move on now, I keep thinking of another one of them. And
what did Lyle give it?
9.5, and he was nearly went 10, and I totally get it. Like the only, I think the reason there are games on there that you will just go no, but I find that more of them I don't than I do, if you know what I mean. Like more, I'd forgotten about that Pong one, almost forgotten until I was chatting about it. And there's just so much creativity, and I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise. You know, Spelunky was a tour de force, wasn't it? Like, you know, there's a reason this shouldn't be a surprise. But this is not just Derek Yu. This is, and I'm really sorry I keep just mentioning him by name. I know it's really poor of me, but there was like sort of 6 to 8 developers who've all made these games as this collection, and it's magnificent. It's truly, and like I said, I love the fact they've made lore like that. When you start the game, it boots up as if you've like booted up a new console. You know, like when you would turn on a GameCube, and it's got its own little boot up thing, and then you're just presented with like the 50 games to pick from. I should also add that there are like, obviously there's high scores to go for and shit like that, but I should also add that there are like, if you beat the game, you get, I think, is it a gold icon, and you can, there's special stuff as well. You get like a cherry coloured icon for doing specific like weird tasks. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
But on that note, I've spoke for nearly half an hour, and I'm sorry to those who don't enjoy me, which is fine. I don't enjoy me. So,
it's a weird podcast to tune into if you don't enjoy Adam Cook.
Well, if you don't enjoy Adam Cook, join the queue, because I don't much myself. But on that note, speaking of sort of, I can't say not enjoying, but speaking of kind of going from the high to a down.
Speaking of ice cold death
Yeah.
and misery,
Chris, it's kind of like the gaming equivalent of like when someone says, "Oh, did you enjoy Schindler's List?"
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them. But yeah, Frostpunk 2. It's like there was times playing this where, and people who've played the first one are gonna get it straight away, where you're doing all you can to keep your people alive, and all you are getting in return is problems. It's just stress.
We're just fucking moaning. Do you know what? Right, sorry to stop you before you pretty much started, right? I read your review, available on GodIsGeek.com, and the opening paragraph, because I reviewed the console edition of the first one on the site, and your opening paragraph about the game and how the people just moan and everything, I was like, yeah, I remember that.
I
the
was
little
reading that
fuckers
going
just
like,
want food and warmth, and they don't fucking shut up.
I was editing this like going, can we open a review like this? Like, but this is the game. Like, could you? What I would ask though is, what kind of game is this? Because I didn't play the first. And I get it's a strategy game, but where are we? What kind of niche?
So so it moves from day to day relatively quickly, but it takes a long time for things to really happen. But you're essentially trying to keep your city in a post-apocalyptic world where there's an ice age. You're
a bit nippy out.
So you've got this generator at the heart of your city, and the kind of tutorial is you found a source of heat and you're starting to build around it. But this chapter 1 after that starts where you've got your city kind of basically set up to a point where you've got your houses and you've got all kind of like industrial areas set up, but you're then building on top of that, expanding this city, and it's kind of like in a circle, just like around this generator. And you like within your space, you've got to try and find a source of energy to keep it going. and you're looking like coal was the first kind of source of like fossil fuel you're looking for, but there's only like one area in the map, and once you've harvested all of that, you are screwed. So it then encourages you to travel the Frostlands and find new sources of heat. So you find oil eventually, and so on. And there's you're just trying to keep the city alive, keep them warm, keep them fed, keep them safe, keep them like clean. It's hard. Like there's pollution, obviously. You've also got to try and manage how you like where you build your cities, your kind of like homes in relation to like the industrial side of things. Because if you're putting them next to like dirty, horrible oil rigs or coal mines or whatever, they're going to get sick and they're going to get.
So is it a city? Because like
it's like
a city builder, like but
it's
This War of Mine as a city builder.
Yeah,
or
it's
not
like Sim City, but like cold and miserable.
But they made This War of Mine, and I remember that being really interesting.
Exactly the same.
But
yeah,
so it's that, but
it's heavy.
Builder.
It's heavy. It's
heavy.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
heavy.
I get. Yeah.
And it's not just like with the grind of it all.
No.
And I'm not. And people listening probably think, well, why? You must have hated it. But we'll get to why I didn't hate it because it is hard. It's so hard. But and then like the people. So this is what I was kind of writing about. Is you've got factions that are in this city that all have different ideals. And you are the steward. You're taking over from the person from, I'm assuming, the first game who died, and you're now in charge. So people come to you with their problems, and you'll be like doing stuff, whatever, and you'll some text will pop up on screen, and it'll be someone talking about the kids are going wild. There's a crime rate. The children need to be educated, or there's like a coal mine where you need to stop. You need to close the coal mine down and cover it up, or else it's going to cause people to die. So you have to think: do I close it off and kill the miners, as in the coal miners, not the children?
Yeah.
Or do you?
It's not Lyle fighting 10 of them.
Yeah. Or do you leave it and risk? See what happens. And so you've got to, like on the fly, you've got to decide all these little things. But then you've got like the city hall where you build a city hall, and then that is where you have to pass certain laws. And that's kind of the most interesting thing for me is when, and there's so many will pop up, and it's really clever with how you construct your city and how you construct your vision for what you want this city to become.
So now you're making it sound more like This War of Mine plus SimCity plus Civilization.
It's got all different aspects that kind of make it this really incredible
game, like a big.
It is a big game, yeah. And these laws. So let's go to the child violence and the education, the Indian educational system, because that's the only one I can think of right now. You've got all the different factions within your city. Some will already be opposing it. Some will be neutral. Yeah, some will be neutral. Some who you're already kind of maybe in favour with will be more on your side, and then the people that kind of brought it to your attention will be for what choice you make in regards to getting these kids educated. Do you get them educated and put them in school? Do you get them to work the mines with the parents? All this. So whatever you decide, you've then got to try and get everyone to vote for. So you have that standard vote, and you have a certain number you have to vote yes for it to be passed. And by doing that, you have to go and look at the factions, and some won't negotiate, they'll just downright say no. But some will be like, we'll vote yes, but you have to do one of these things for me. So like they might say, right, well, we want you to build these extraction towers for the pollution because we're getting sick, people are getting ill, we need to look after the people. Others might say, right, well, we need you to build this factory for this reason, or research this for this reason.
To grind up young ponies or something like.
And then if
you've not said it's all down, like it's.
But
just,
it is.
But
then you then go, right, well, I would prefer this faction to side with me because they share the same vision as me for the future. And this vision of the future is called the zeitgeist. So it's all about progression, adaptation through technology, or is it about creating a new world with new ideas, or is it about traditions and ideas within the community that's already there? There's a religious element to it. So there's a hell of a lot you need to think of, and you'll start to maybe you'll start to side. You'll start to listen to a certain faction, and they'll kind of put ideas into your head, and you'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And then they'll do something, and you'll be like against it. But you're like, oh, fuck's sake. Well, do I oppose them, or do I stick to my guns? And it's like it teaches you how to be a leader, and it's really clever how it all kind of feeds together to build your city. And then
how are the consequences though to this, like
mutiny, uprising? You really have to think of every single decision.
Can you die?
I didn't when I played it, but I restarted quite a few times.
I remember if it's anything like the original, which everything you've said implies that it is, I found on numerous occasions, wow, I think this playthrough is going very well, and then all of a sudden it would just go absolutely south.
It's like that meme of that dog in the room where the room's just on fire and you're just stood there like.
So would it be fair to say a box quote could be, "You can't die in this game, but you'll want to." Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like you're saying, "I can't die, but God, I wish I could."
But it's the hard games when they get it right and you succeed or feel like you succeeded. That satisfaction level is unlike anything. And I don't want to say, I don't want to be reductive and say it's a Bloodborne of strategy games.
Say it's Dark Souls.
Because that's it's not. Go on, say it. But what I am saying is that feeling when you beat that boss and after trying so hard, when you're trying so hard to keep the city alive, and you're making decisions that you want to make that will fulfill your vision of how to keep people safe and healthy. And you start to progress, and you then start to explore the Frostlands, which is this wild beyond your city, which you have no idea what's there. But you start to slowly unravel this massive world, but it all goes in your favor, and you start building communities outside of New London, which is where you're based. It's incredible. Like the satisfaction level is insane, and this game that they've built is one of the best kind of games like this strategy games, because there's so much work has gone into not just the gaming mechanic side, but the writing. And it does little things that you just really appreciate. Like there's this every now and again after a decision you'll make or something you've decided, this voice will appear on the tannoys of the city, and it's almost like dystopian, and it kind of it makes you uncomfortable because you're like, well, that's not why that wasn't my reasoning behind it, but they're making it kind of sound sinister for. So it's just really well put together, and visually it's fantastic. So yeah, really, that's why it's the 9.
Yeah, I remember from the first one. I'm sorry to bring it back, but I'm sure it's similar. Like it's like the exact opposite of something like Tropico for me.
Yeah,
right? Because like when you make decisions in something like Tropico, or whichever number you want, you can have a bit of a mess about, and some of the decisions you might make which ones you want, but really it's selfish, and it's you're having a laugh, and then if you go a bit wrong, it's like I can probably fix it with a little dealing under the table or whatever, and it's all supposed to be a laugh. This is like the complete other end of the spectrum, where it's like every decision, not only are they fucking like, do you prefer children or adults, or do you prefer warmth or food, or it's like that, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. But also like I just remember feeling like really fuck, like really caring about what I was doing, whereas in Tropico you're just dossing, and that's why.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You're actually caring about what you're doing, and that's I think that plays into it as well, because then when you do succeed in an expansion or whatever, it's because you actually really fucking care about what is in front of you. It's not just I'm completing a mission because that's what the game design is for. It's so intense because the situation's intense, decisions are intense, and nothing comes for free. It's always a compromise, isn't it? It's like, and it's like the best of a bad situation type of thing, dialed up to 11.
You never feel like you were getting anything out of it. No. In terms of you as your character or your for everybody else.
I think it's interesting because I wonder how many people would be like, well, I get what you're saying, and it sounds like a good video game, but I'm not sure I want to play it because of the mood. But the reason I kind of do want to play it is because 11-bit studios are very quickly becoming one of the most interesting and cool publishers out there. Now, I totally appreciate that people may not know all that much about them, but the list of games they've released in the last 12 months. So The Invincible, Chris White, you reviewed that. I'm not saying these are all developed by.
I thought you just said The Invincible Chris White. I was like, that's a good introduction.
Yeah. The Thaumaturge is an 11-bit studios published game. Turge game. Indica, Creatures of Ava, Frostpunk 2, and another game, while Frostpunk 2 is developed by them as well, another game that's, if it doesn't get a release date soon, I'm going to burst, is The Altars. They make interesting video games. Like The Altars is again quite bleak, and I would urge anyone to try the demo of that as well, because I really like that. You know, when you play a demo build of a game and you're like, "Yep, that's enough for me. I'm gonna stop right now because this is I want to play this game." Like I've been nagging their PR, like, "You are going to announce a release date soon," because like last, I think 11-bit said it was this year, but like, so if you're on the fence,
Indica's the same.
That's what I mean.
And it was so creative and original.
And again, I don't know if that's a developed game, but regardless, they've got an eye for publishing, let's say.
Yeah.
A bit like Devolver Digital, like when
Annapurna.
they weren't as big, or Annapurna, God bless.
Well,
I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, Frostpunk 2, you can totally go and read the review. Wanted to talk about it because I feel like it is a game that could get lost in... It won't. It's massive, and it's so.
I feel like the following will be there for that. I feel like that will do okay.
If we didn't talk this week on the pod, I feel like we wouldn't have, because there's just an avalanche at the moment of games.
Yeah,
I do want to play it though, because like there's something there's something to be said for a game that commits to that kind of, no, this is a dark, foreboding experience, but it's a fucking brilliant one.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And a 9 out of 10 for me is like, well, a Chris White 9 out of 10 is like me going, I kind of have to play this. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
You hold
if you're looking at something that's like, you're not going to go, oh, it's the same as Astrobot and the Plucky Squire. No, you'll be fine not thinking that. So,
but all these games that we've talked about this week are kind of like indie in a way. Like 11-bit studios are a publisher, but they're not Ubisoft or
No, it would, and I think a lot of people, unless you're a fan, I think a lot of people are waiting for this game. But
I think this game's it'll do fine, is what I think.
Yeah,
but I do think
it
is a game
to.
In terms of being covered by lots of places, I wonder, but I don't think that will matter too much. Chris, shall I do the
play that jingle?
Okay.
Chris Hyde, listen to Correspondence. It's time. It's time. Chris Hyde. Okie dokie. So he's got a few questions from Mikhail this week. For those of you who have played it, this is going to be, I think it's just Adam. I think I know the answer. Who have played Plucky Squire and UFO 50? Which would you pick if someone had to buy only one?
That's quite difficult, because I feel like saying Plucky is a bit more, I think there'll be a higher hit rate for people.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say UFO 50 because I think that game is just... that game. It feels weird. It's not a game. Well, it is, but that collection of fake games that are actually real games from a console that didn't exist is so... Like, you won't play anything else like it. You put that... You might not even like it, but you'll never play anything else like this because it's... Yeah, but if you... Fuck. I have to say UFO 50, but it's difficult. I have to. In my head, I would rate it higher as a game, but I like that kind of game. So, and I like those. Yeah. So.
Yeah. He does go on to say, if you did like UFO 50, which clearly you do, he says, I would recommend Taito Milestones, or Taito Milestones, sorry.
Taito, yeah. What is that? A collection of 200 games or something?
Probably. I don't know. Then a question about Frostpunk 2. Does Frostpunk 2 work well with a controller on deck?
Can I make an addendum to that and ask, does it work at all on deck?
I'm not. I didn't even try it. I was never going to try it on that.
No, I imagine it'd be quite hard to play on it.
They haven't released it on console yet. So
they are going to.
No, they are.
They will,
that is when they will adapt the controls to the console. that isn't in place.
I'm always nervous about those types of games when they haven't been
Satisfactory's coming to console, isn't it? And I'm like, good luck.
Yeah. Coming to console, sorry?
Satisfactory. Did you not know that?
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, okay.
It's doable. I mean, like, Foundry proves that you can play.
Foundry, yeah.
But like, some of these games...
It's like Planet Zoo console. I know it's a very different kind of game.
Yeah, no, but
there's so many there's so many menus and
it's the thing. It's the menus and the shortcuts.
But they got it right. Whereas there are other games which are just too confusing. And this will work. I think it will work quite well because it's not like.
But would
chaotic.
it work with a smaller screen? Would it work with? Do you think? I
know
we're talking hypotheticals.
No. I would never play the regions
like this.
Like that's what I'm getting at. I know you can zoom, like if you hold Steam and.
I always find that such a.
It's a faff, yeah, it is.
So I would say I don't know for definite. I didn't test it, but I just wouldn't play it on there.
It's not something you would. Yeah, no, I'm with. I've not played it at all, but I don't think I'd play it there. There were just some games that still kind of just a bit better on like a PC.
Yeah, it's like I don't think I'd want to play like a Total War game or something on a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Like, certain types of games, I'm like, nah, it's
Although saying that, and I think of this because I did. There were 2 Point Museum dates been announced. Those games are good on console. 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point.
And I didn't think it would work.
No, but it really does.
Yeah,
they really do. They're a bit fiddly, but as soon as you get used to it,
you get used to it. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Frostpunk 2 for me, like Chris said, it's all the reading. I don't think because the reading. Every time I've seen the screenshot, the text looks quite small.
Yeah,
it's not designed as a visual novel where like an Ace Attorney where the bottom screen is the text. It's like it's a bit like Thaumaturge, I think, where the text there's a lot of text.
Yeah.
Turge.
So this question's for Adam. The next two are for Adam.
Okay.
He said, I was speaking of this actually. I was wondering how you decide whether to play a game on your main PC or PS5 versus deck with the visual and performance compromises. What do you do to decide?
My gaming habits have massively changed.
You do everything on deck if you can, don't you?
I have gone from someone who you would not catch playing on a handheld unless I had to someone who is at his happiest playing on a handheld. I don't know why. I think I just like being like sat in the lounge with my wife and play something. I might even put one headphone on, or I might not. If you're playing a platform game or something, I don't need headphones on or to hear the audio above everything. So she might be watching something on telly, and I can just play away at it like that. Like if you told me, if I went back into the past and told 2 years ago you will personally pay money and buy a PlayStation Portal so you can remote play your PlayStation that is in front of you in the room, I would have hit him. I'd have hit that version of me and gone, "You're a fool." You are.
Well, I remember the conversation. Fool. I remember the conversation with you when the portal was first announced, and we were just like, "You don't play those kind of things." Like,
and now, mate, it's all I do.
Yeah.
So how do I decide whether to? So if I'm in a privileged position where I can, you know what I mean? It's not. So don't follow my advice, is what I'm saying here, because I'm in a privileged position where I get games sent to me, and that's not a brag. It's just saying I always like. Something we always try to do is respect and remember people have to pay money for video games and they're not cheap. As long as it runs fine, I'll probably play it on Steam Deck or PlayStation or Switch, basically, because I don't really have a preference anymore. Like it's genuinely got to. I mean, like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I reckon I played 60% of that remote playing onto an Xbox onto a Steam Deck with an app I paid £3 for. That is an Xbox. I forget what it's called. I'd love to credit them because it's a really good app. But I streamed 50 to 60% of that game to Steam Deck with the Xbox in front of me and just played it that way. I don't know what's happened to me, but I think
it's quite a normal thing to do.
Well, I think partially it's eyesight thing. Like I was playing a video game today that again I can't mention on the big screen. I'm struggling to see this. Not like I can't see it at all, but like. Some of it in the distance, it's small. Whereas If it's small, it's like it's the Father Ted thing. This is small. I just
Far,
bring the
far
deck,
away.
Further
I just
away.
bring the deck closer to my face and I can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, so
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, definitely.
I don't really have any hard and fast rules as long as it doesn't run like ass.
I mean, what we were just saying, like, I guess what it sounds like to me whenever we talk about it now, it's like if it will run on the deck, and you, like you say, we get.
I think the Steam Deck's a fantastic machine.
Yeah,
I
we get a
genuinely
code or
think-
whatever.
I mean, yes, it's to me, but Chris White is a recent Steam Deck adopter. You tell me, mate. You tell me, has it changed how you play games?
He's a steamer.
Yeah, every PC game I review, I will download it on the deck to play first, 100%.
Apart from Frostpunk 2.
Apart from that, yeah. But like for me, I know it's not a question for me and Chris.
No, but it is really. I mean, this
Well,
is.
I'm gonna
anyone
answer it
can
anyway.
it. Yeah, do.
Yeah,
do.
fuck you, McCall.
In terms of like games, it's very much the same as going to the cinema for me. I know I work there, but like in terms of watching films,
Okay.
I wanna watch a big blockbuster, or a big game, I want a big film on a big screen because that's what I want. Like I want to
Right,
watch.
so God of War
Interstellar.
Ragnarok.
I wanna
God
watch
of War
Marvel.
Ragnarok, you prefer.
I would never sit down and if we only got code for Ragnarok on PC, it would be on a big screen.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I will say I'm with you, but I have done it now. But what I tend to do is I might start.
Well,
it
Infinite
on the big
Wealth, I
screen.
wouldn't have played on a deck. I would have 100%
Yeah,
played
I
it.
did, but I started on the Xbox on the big.
I
screen.
think it's interesting. Remember we were talking about Banishers last week.
Yes.
Which
So
I
I
assume
played most
Chris is
of that
like
on
30
deck.
hours into now.
Yeah,
But like
completely, mate.
you were saying about you played that on deck, and I think it's because I think there is also a piece around what am I missing if I do shrink it from a visual point
But
of
again,
view.
I started that on PC and moved deck to deck, so I get a bit of that visual fidelity up front.
Yeah, I get that.
And make it
That's
cool.
that's the marvel of the deck in all respects is you can play it on your PC, and if you want, you can get a 60-inch screen in front of you on a PC, but then you can just move to the deck with a cloud save. Plucky Squire, I started on PC. The footage you see in the review, and it looks beautiful. I moved to deck, like so. There is that. Steam works pretty bloody well when it comes to cloud saves. You know?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So yeah,
Okie doke.
we didn't really answer it, did we?
I think you did.
Did we? Ah,
Yeah.
Don't matter.
How do you make your decisions? You've just said.
Yeah, I suppose.
So another one for Adam.
If I can sit on my arse comfortably on a cushioned sofa,
Yeah.
I'm taking that option. And if that option, thanks to the way technology has evolved, means I can do that on PlayStation on a screen in front of my face, I'm taking that option.
Arse first. This is what we're saying.
Yes.
Another one that's just for Adam, Chris, so we'll just keep quiet. Have you tried Plucky Squire, the Plucky Squire, on Switch? He thinks it can't imagine it'd be worth playing there with how good it looks and feels on deck.
I haven't, and I won't, because I'm not going to play it on multiple consoles, because no. I think it's 30 FPS, isn't it, on there? Didn't they say it can't hit 60, which is not a surprise, because as much as you look at it and go, that's a nice animation style, there's a lot going on there. You seamlessly go to a green icon.
Transitions and things.
That's what I mean. You press, hold down triangle or Y or X, whatever it is on Switch, and you will warp straight out to 3D, and that's just, there's no loading, that's just happening.
Yeah.
There's more technology going on, more technical stuff going on than you think. If you've only got a Switch, then I don't think you should avoid it. Like,
No.
it's still going to look really nice and be a nice game. It's just going to not be quite the same frame rate. I mean, it's not like you're going to know, is it? If you've only got a Switch and you're buying it on Switch, you're not going to know any different because you're not going to have tried it anywhere else, are you? So
Yeah.
I think it's worth playing anywhere. Like, if it came out on iPhone, I'd say it's worth playing. It's a good video game. So that's the answer. Sorry.
That's right. And then finally, are you going to cover Raincode Plus, which is Master Detectives Archives Raincode Plus?
Well, I'm not. I'll tell you that for now.
I'm
and I know you're not, so
I'm
it's really a
fucking
question
not.
to Chris White. Does he want to? This is like
I
asking
haven't got a
live on
fucking
the-
clue what it is.
Oh,
This
no,
is a
Chris,
Lyle game.
It's fine. It was just this was one of my picks.
No, Chris.
for...
No, Chris. It was one of the best games when it came out. We loved it, right? So Chris White should definitely cover it, right? Why are you
Don't
laughing?
give me that.
What's funny? What's funny about?
I think
It was one of my picks for biggest disappointments last year.
So it's the game
Made
by
me
the
angry.
creators of Danganronpa, if that means
Yeah.
anything to you.
Oh,
But which
I'll
in
review it.
that sense,
No, you
in
Chris,
that
I can't
sense,
do this to
you
you.
might like it, but
You won't.
I mean, we spoke last week about needing like 7 time machines.
Yeah.
This game just doesn't respect any of your time whatsoever.
Oh no, then.
If it were a director's cut and they tightened it all up,
And they cut a load of
that's what I mean, a
out.
director's cut, and I'm using the word cut,
Yes.
like that fucking director's blade, let's call it.
yeah.
Director's chainsaw.
Yeah.
I would be interesting
Yeah,
to hear
because
what somebody else thought of it. Still not blowing
The mysteries and the detective part of it and stuff is actually quite interesting. It's the how you get through it all.
I
is
would
just
watch a
long.
YouTube playthrough of someone else playing it, but it's not a game I ever want to play again myself personally. And by that, I don't think it's dog shit awful. It's
And
interesting.
I would
There's
say
some
the
cool
use
shit.
of the word plus would indicate there's more of it, not less of it.
Yeah, but
So
how is that more?
I would watch a YouTube video on 1.5 speed or 2 speed to try and get through them.
You can do that in the game, can't you? If I recall, can't you press a button and it like double speeds the chat?
Not at the fucking end of each mission. I'm to get a short piece of rope at that point.
I don't want to shit on this game like too heavily. I didn't.
It wasn't
enjoy
terrible.
No, but
I always get angry at games that waste my time, and I really appreciate games when they appreciate my time. It's just one of my things because I don't have a lot of time to game, so it was one of those.
Yeah, no, I
So
would suspect
I won't be
not.
covering it.
I mean, Lyle's not here.
No, I mean, I think he'd love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, perfect.
sell it to him.
But also, I can't. That would be, man's not exactly more time rich than any of us. That would be cruel. And he'll probably listen to this. So hello.
But if
Lyle.
it's on Steam Deck, he can. If he's got the shits, he'll be able to sit on the toilet and play it.
Please,
Depends
the
when it's
plops.
out.
We etiquette the plops.
Plops. Sorry,
Yeah.
The plops.
that's the podcast title.
Yeah, I think it is actually the plops. I'll change it from what it was. You'll never know. The plops. Have we not called one the plops before?
No, Plops is relatively new within our community.
No, I'm pretty sure we've called it. Well, it's the plops part 2.
If you've been listening to the podcast for the
Two
last
plop,
10 years
two
and
plop,
recall
yeah.
which number podcast was called the Plops, do let us know.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to?
Do you know the Passion of the Christ is getting a sequel?
Jesus Christ. Sorry, I've just sort of got whiplash from the change of topic.
I'll tell you how I got
what
there.
in the plop? Yeah, please do.
So we called it the Plops 2. I called it the Plops 2 Ploppia, right? And then I saw a
Okay,
someone,
that's
As
the
in
title.
Fast and Furious.
someone quote tweeted the post about them making a sequel, and someone's called it two
To Christ, to
Christ,
I
Too
get you.
Furious. And then it reminded me I just wondered if you noticed.
Is it Mel Gibson again?
I don't know. It's Jim what's that family guy? Jim Caviezel, whatever
Can I
his name
just
is.
play the jingle because this is
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, go on then.
okay. Thank you.
Chris Hyde. Listen to Correspondence. It's time. It's time. Chris Hyde.
And that's the podcast for this
So
week.
back to the Passion of the Christ 2.
No, I just for some reason I can't bring myself to name the pod Plops 2 even Ploppia. It just doesn't scan right because it needs to be the Roman numeral 2. I feel for it to work, and I can't do that. I can't. The Plops is fine. I'm sure we have not called it the Plops before. That might be too juvenile even for us. If you did enjoy this podcast, you can go to youtube.com/GodIsAGeek where you can find the video version. If you just happen to be listening, we are. If the other thing is true and you're on YouTube already, we are on Spotify and all the usual podcast applications that you can find podcasts on. You can also go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. Patreon.com/GodIsAGeek where you can find it's basically a members club. If you don't know what Patreon is by now, it's pretty big now, but members club is, exclusive stuff, early access to this podcast before anybody else. Discord.
Only fan style galleries of all the crew.
That's a milestone to hit, isn't it? Other than that, thank you to Chris Hyde and Chris White for being here.
Been a pleasure.
We hope that Lyle's bottom recovers in time for next episode because that's 3 on the run. 3 on the runs.
3
now.
on the runs.
3 on the runs now that we've managed. What could
Whatever
possibly
next.
go wrong? Thanks very much, and we will speak to you next episode or whenever you choose to listen. Ta-ta for now.